Yo, what's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about why no one wants to be a mechanic anymore, and why everybody's hiring. So, the main reason is pretty obvious. Techs aren't happy. That is the main reason why no one wants to be a mechanic anymore, and no one wants to work in the automotive industry, or not the automotive industry, but the auto repair industry. And it mainly leads down to hours and pay and management, more or less. I notice a lot that everywhere is hiring all the time anymore. Also, it's very apparent that most places will hire just about anybody, whether they have experience or not, and it's just something they can do to just fill spots, and they hope that it works out. So the main thing is low pay and high workload. So most places want to pay you the bare minimum dollar they can, and then expect you to produce for every cent of the dollars they're paying you. So they want a lot out of somebody who's making a lot. More or less, you're getting worked a lot for the amount that you're making. Not saying that it's a bad thing, but it's something some people just aren't prepared for, or aren't used to, or it's a change for them, so they either end up quitting, or they come into the industry and then they realize, hey, this isn't what I was expecting, or this isn't what I wanted, and they end up hopping careers, or going and leaving and going to a different shop. It's very much a take it or leave it type of industry anymore. So at the dealership, at anywhere, it's more or less like a, hey, this is how much we're willing to pay you. You can either take it, or we're going to move on to the next guy and offer him $1 less. So it's very hard to get what you're worth in the automotive industry anymore, just because it's an industry that's very easy to get into now, just because most places are hiring based on, hey, come here, do you have a heartbeat? All right, get in the shop. So you're looked at as very replaceable as a mechanic. Most places look at it as, okay, you don't want to do the work, or you want X amount of dollars, well, let's hire in this new guy and train him up, and then pay him less for the same work. One thing I noticed a lot throughout my career in the automotive industry so far is the more experience you end up getting, the worse jobs and the harder it is to flag hours. So your pay is going to be great, your dollar per hour is going to be great, but you're going to get really crappy jobs. So you're going to get the jobs that no one else wants, you're going to get the really hard diags. If you're in a dealership, you're going to get the really hard warranties, or the warranties that don't pay a whole lot. And at the end of the day, it's worse to actually have more experience in the auto repair industry anymore. It's honestly better to keep your experience low, so you don't get stuck with the bad jobs. And that is terrible to say, but it's just the truth. Low experience equals more hours, and high experience equals harder jobs and less hours, but you get paid more. And that's the way they look at it, is it's fair because you're getting paid more per hour, but now you're basically making the same thing as the person that just got hired in as a low-level tech, and you're this high-level tech, but you're making the same because the hour difference, because of the experience difference, because now you're getting thrown hard jobs while this other person is getting thrown gravy work and doing breaks all day or doing alignments all day. It's really hard to watch that and be happy where you are. And I've seen it happen a lot to myself and other people. So be careful with how much experience you get if you want to be a mechanic anymore. Another thing is service advisors are making, some service advisors are making more money than some techs. Now, don't get me wrong, I believe service advisors should make more than lube techs or maybe even C techs. But anything up past a C tech, I don't believe a service advisor should be making more or even as much as the B techs or A techs, master mechanics, whatever. Due to the fact that, yes, your job is rough. Don't get me wrong. Customer service sucks. You have to deal with people all day, and you have to be the person that just takes the getting yelled at. But also, at the end of the day, you're not the one in the back of the shop fixing the car, and you're also not the one in the back of the shop writing the recommendations up. All you really do is sit there, take in the car, wait for the mechanic to bring something up to say, hey, this is what your car needs. Take it or leave it. And then, yeah, you might get complained about the price or whatever, but at the end of the day, you're not in the back of the shop killing yourself to try to make money on a per job pay rate. So it's hard to see service advisors making more than some high-level techs, but it happens. And I mean, there's not much anybody can do about it right now. It's showing with how many people are looking for mechanics and how many people don't want to be a mechanic anymore, how many people are leaving their positions to do something else. Everything really revolves around pay and hours. Another big thing would be favoritism. There's a lot of favoritism in shops. Getting fed is a real thing. I mean, you can be on the good end of it where you're getting fed, and then you can be on the bad end of it to where you're getting all the oil changes, tire rotations, and you're watching somebody get brakes and steering and suspension work and gaskets or whatever, and all you're doing is oil changes. So favoritism is a thing, and it does happen, but at the end of the day, it's your choice to stay or leave. If you see it, I mean, if you can do something about it, try to do something about it. If you can't do something about it, I completely get that, because that's just the way it goes sometimes. And more or less, it comes down to how long you've been in a shop. Whether you're in the clique or not. So like, if you in a shop for a long time, you're going to get fed gravy work because they want to keep you there. If you just join a shop, you're getting all of the crap work. You're getting oil changes, tire rotations, all the crappy diags, tires. You're getting all the bad work, and you just got to make something out of nothing, more or less. Low labor times on some jobs. And this mainly like third-party shops for regular work. They have low labor times on a lot of jobs. I know brakes at third-party shops pay a lot less than brakes at the dealership. Brakes at the dealership pay almost 2 hours. Brakes at third-party shops pay about an hour. So there's a very messed up thing about flat rate and labor times, to where you can get one job that pays really good and you don't have to do anything for it, and you have another job that pays garbage and you're stuck making nothing. So flat rate is kind of a downfall for a lot of people, and a lot of people get scared off by flat rate and the per job pay system. But in my experience, you tend not to bank on guarantee, or you tend to flag more hours than you work. As long as you're doing something and you're trying to actually get going, you tend to flag more than you work. There are a lot of ups and downs with the flat rate system. So with high experience, you have the knowledge, so when you do get those gravy jobs, they're really easy. But also with high experience, you're going to get the crappy jobs because they don't want to give them to the lower techs because they feel they don't have the experience, or they feel that they're not going to be able to get it done as fast as you. On the other hand, low experience, you're going to get more hours. So you're also going to get, sometimes you're going to get worse work. So sometimes you'll only get the oil changes, tire rotations with low experience. But also, sometimes you'll only get gravy work because it's easier work. So it's really hard for higher experienced techs to stay in a shop and watch that happen, and it happens constantly. I mean, I'm not even going to try to say that I haven't seen it happen, because it happens a lot. The other two things is cost of entry into the automotive technician world is scary for a lot of technicians, for a lot of starting lube techs, and they see people with tens of thousands of dollars worth of tools, and they're like, oh, how am I going to afford this? And it's very scary for a lot of new techs to come into the field and realize, hey, you're going to have to spend a lot of money to make money. And the cost of entry is just getting higher and higher. I mean, not exactly, but it's almost not worth it anymore based on how much you're paid as a lube tech versus how much you have to fork out to actually get your starter tools, more or less. And all this ties into more or less management. So if you have a really good manager and they know how to run a shop and they know how to distribute hours, you're gonna love it. If you have bad management to where they are okay with the favoritism and they feed certain techs, you're gonna hate it until you're in the clique, and then you're gonna love it. But it all comes down to management, whether or not they care about the actual technicians and their employees, or if they're just looking at them as a number, and they're just looking at them as how much can you bring, or how many hours can you turn, more or less. And it's really hard to watch. It's really hard to flag 20 hours and get paid, let's say, $20 an hour, and the shop's charging a flat rate labor fee of anywhere from like $135 to $155 an hour. And you kind of look at it, and it makes a lot of people upset. Yes, the shop does have a lot of other things they have to pay alongside of everything, but also in that fact, they tend to put those prices in separately. The labor fee is a flat rate labor fee, so they're charging $135 to $155 an hour when technicians are making anywhere from like $10 to $40. So they're making a lot off of every hour that you turn in the shop. So the more hours you turn, the more valuable you are to a company. And a lot of technicians look at how much they're charging for labor fee and how much they're getting paid, and you just get upset because you're like, why am I doing all this work and making somebody $155 for an hour when I'm only getting paid $20 for that hour? There's ups and downs a lot in the automotive world, but at the end of the day, everyone is replaceable. Everyone's looked at as more or less a number, and that's why not a lot of people are staying in the industry anymore, is because they don't feel cared for. They don't feel like they're valued. More experience is not valued anymore in the automotive industry. It's, you get more experience, you make less money anymore. So it's really deterring a lot of new techs and a lot of techs that have been in the industry for a long time. If you have any other opinion about this, feel free, leave it in the comment section. It's just something I felt I should talk about, especially now at the end of 2023, when blue collar jobs are in demand, but no one wants to go to them because of the workload versus pay. So remember, everyone's replaceable. If you don't agree, well, you're wrong. You're wrong, because everyone's replaceable. But that's pretty much it. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you guys want to see more content like this, subscribe. Peace.